Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Total Quilter Monthly for October 2020. My name is Mark Garetz and I'm a National Floriani educator. And this month we're going to be talking all about embellishments. Now that's a feature that's only available in Total Quilter or My Decorative Quilter. We're going to be exploring all of them and see some fun you can have with them. So this month you can either follow along with me or you can just watch. Most of this will be just watching. At the end there might be some things you want to follow along with. So you want to get Total Quilter or My Decorative Quilter open, or if you have it inside FTC you can go ahead and open that, and we will go ahead and get started. Now the rest of the setup, normally I go through what thread chart you want to select and grid settings and all that. Really doesn't matter for this project how everything is set up. So like I said earlier, what we're going to be talking about this month is embellishments. And what are embellishments? Well, first of all, they're located right here. And this, I don't know, this looks like half a quilt block with a little bit of an embellishment sticking up. I always thought it looked like a gift wrap package with a bow on top, but that's just me. But if you click it, you'll open up the embellishments folders. And these are pre-built in, and there's a variety of folders to select from. And if you look at them all, we have birds. So here's some example of birds. We're going to go and look at bugs. Here's some bugs, okay, ladybugs. The next one is butterflies. Now, if we go back to bugs for a second, you'll notice that there's 4. Now, most of these have 4 or more sets of images or designs. And these are designed so that you can use them in the different types of quilt blocks that are out there. So for example, or different parts of quilt blocks. So for example, here's a round kind of a design to go into a circle. This is a square-ish design to go into more of a square block. This is a linear design of butterflies to go in a border or binding or something like that, or in a rectangular block. And this is a 45-degree angle corner piece. Now you're not limited to using them for those, but that's the design idea behind them. So as we go through, you'll see usually all these 4 and then plus some more. Like for example, if we go to the next one, butterflies, you'll see here's a 45 and here's a square, and here's something you could use for round, and this one you could use for round. This is linear. Here's another one that's kind of more decorative and not necessarily on a 45. And this one could be either square or round. So you get the idea. So these are butterflies. Let's look at feathers. Now feathers, you have a lot of different options in here. So there's a lot of different feathers. Some are simple, some are detailed, some are half for half a block, some are quarter for a corner, etc. So if you want a feather look that's all pre-built, you would choose one of these. And again, they go from simple to very complex or extremely complex. And then fish, and there's only 4 fish. Again, are 4 different styles: round, square, rectangular, and corner. Flowers, you have an awful lot to choose from here in flowers, because flowers are very popular in quilt design, so a lot of different flower motifs and designs. Hearts, quite a few hearts to choose from. Let's go to the next one, holiday, a few holiday motifs, and then a lot of different leaves, because leaves are again popular in quilt blocks. Stars, we have quite a few different star motifs, and I'm calling them motifs, but you know they're really embellishments. Motifs are something else. And then we have swirls and traditional. So these are sort of a catch-all for various traditional things, fleur-de-lis and things like that. And then lastly, we have a variety, which has some more stars in it and other types of symmetrical type designs. So let's take a look at one in more detail. So let's take a look at a butterfly. Let's just use a butterfly as an example. Let's choose this one. and it comes in as a design, and it's a couple different pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to resize this. So I'm going to come over here to my Transform tab on my Properties box. I want to make sure that Maintain Aspect Ratio is checked. I'm working in inches here. You could go to millimeters if that's more familiar to you or more convenient. I'm going to make this about 4 inches wide. So I'm going to just change the width, and the height will change proportionally. So I'm going to type in a 4 here, and you see the height changes. And I'm going to click Apply. And then, it's not really centered up to the screen. So with it all selected, I'm going to come up here to my alignment icon, click it, and I'm going to select this one here, Center to Rulers. Click that, and my whole design comes in and centered to the rulers. Now you'll notice that the center of the body of the butterfly isn't exactly in the center here. That's because this is not an optical center, but it's an actual design center. So we might want to move this later, and we probably will, but we'll save that for a little bit later in the video. So I'm going to click off it now, and let's examine the different parts that are here. You'll notice right away that right in the middle of the design is a run stitch design. And all the embellishments are like this. They consist of a basic run stitch that is the part of the design that will stitch out. And then they all include a pre-built outline around it, a little bit of a distance away. And this is artwork, not stitches, and we're going to get to what you can do with that a little bit later. Now, if you don't care about the artwork, then don't worry about it. You can either come up here and delete it, or you can use it. Or you can just leave it, because it will never sew, and you'll never have to worry about it if you just leave it. But one thing you need to know is that all these embellishments come in as a group. So if I click on it, I get everything moves together. You see, it's all a group. Now, if you want to just delete the outside of it, the outline, then you have to ungroup it. And there's two different ways, or a couple different ways you could do that. You could click this ungroup icon here. And these helper icons is a new feature that came with the latest update to Total Quilter, or my decorative quilter, and is a side effect actually of being installed in our single framework now. So you can click this icon right here to quickly ungroup it. You could also right click on it and select ungroup, or you could come up here to the ungroup icon, which is right here, and click that. So you could click that and then just select the outline and delete it. I'm not going to do that because we want to keep it for something I want to show you. But that's the basic construction of an embellishment. And they're all basically the same. So if I open up a different one, like let's open a bug. Let's do this ladybug right here. You can see that it's built exactly the same way. It's an outline with a run stitch inside. So we're not going to need that, so I'm going to delete it. Again, I could do that by a variety of different ways, but I'm just going to use the little X right here to delete it. All right, so what can we do with an embellishment? Well, you can use just the run stitch to do a variety of different things with it. You can make multiples of it using the repeat design tool, design repeat tool. You can use a lot of different features. You can resize it to make it tiny. You can make it really big, because this is essentially a WAF file, and it lets you resize it to any size you want. And it will keep the run stitches with the same stitch length and just make the outline bigger as well. But right now I want to show you one of the fun things you can do with that outline. One of the most common things we do with that outline is use it to create a trapunto design using this embellishment as a base. So to do that, I first of all need to define the outside of my quilt block. So I'm going to come up here to my rectangle tool, which is my predefined shapes tool. I'm going to click it once, and I get a variety of different shapes. I get a circle, rectangle, triangle, etc. I want a rectangle, so I'm going to click that. I'm going to hold down the control key while I click and drag to create this rectangle. Apologize that you can't see me doing it, but I'm holding down the control key while I click and drag this. It's important to press control first, then click and drag, and then you want to let off the mouse, then let go of control. You do it in a different order, it's not going to work. And what this does is it draws a perfect square. Okay, so I'm going to hold down control, click and drag, and I'm going to drag a box around my butterfly. Right, so now I have a box around my butterfly, and let me change the color to something that you can see. Well, let's leave it alone. You can see it well enough, I'm pretty sure. All right, so I'm going to come over here again to my Transform tab, and I want to make a 6" by 6" quilt block out of this. So I'm going to come over here to my width, and I'm going to make a 6 here. Again, I have maintain aspect ratio on, so my width and my height are the same. And I'm going to go ahead and click apply. And now I want to center this to my ruler. So with it selected, I'm going to once again come up here to my alignment tool, click center to rulers, and now it's set up in the center. And I want to now optically align this butterfly to the block. So I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to move it around to where I think it's pretty well centered. And I think that's, well, let me move it over just a tad. All right, so that looks pretty well centered to me. You'll notice that the design center isn't right here in the center, but that's the way I want it. All right, so this gives us the basic elements for our block. We have an outline, we have an inside line, which is going to define where our trapunto stops. So this is going to be where it's going to start. This is going to be where it's going to stop. Now to do that, I have to do a trick with these two pieces of artwork to combine them into a single shape so I can then fill it with something. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to ungroup my butterfly embellishment. So I'm going to come here and click my ungroup. Now my artwork is a separate piece, so I can just select the artwork. And I also want to, at the same time, select the artwork of my outside box. So I'm going to hold down the control key. Again, you can't see me doing it. I'm holding down control, and I'm clicking this artwork that got created when I created the box. So now I have this artwork here, the outline, and the box selected. So with the two selected, my combine icon up here lights up. What combining does is it combines the two artwork paths into a single one, and since I have a closed shape inside another closed shape, what it will do is use this inside shape like a cookie cutter and cut a hole in the shape of the butterfly inside my outside box, just like magic. So if I click this, what I end up with now is my artwork that I created, the box is gone, and what I've got here is a brand new piece of artwork. If I open it, you can see that that's one piece of artwork with a butterfly shaped hole in the middle. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this with some stippling in order to create my trapunto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the outside, and this selects my whole design here, my whole artwork piece, and I want to fill this with stippling. So what I'm going to do is come down here to my auto stipple icon and click it. All right, and it's going to fill that with stippling. And now I want a nice run stitch border around the outside of it and around this inside where the artwork line is to define a little bit better where my butterfly trapunto is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reselect just the artwork, and remember that in Total Quilter or my decorative quilter, the artwork stays behind. And as we went over last time in our tutorial, you saw that you could turn this on or off now. So I have it on because that's the way it comes by default, and it leaves it behind. If it didn't, I would have to make a copy of this stippling and then apply my run stitch to it, and it'll do the same thing. All right, but I'm just going to select my artwork. I'm going to come over here to my run stitch, and I'm going to select that, and it makes a run stitch outline, still leaving that artwork behind. Now to make this a little bit better, I'm going to come here to my stipple, and I'm going to change the color of it. Let's find a nice blue. Let's use this blue right here. And then I can leave this color. I could change it if I want to. Let's go ahead and change that run stitch outline to a darker blue. So I'm going to come here to my thread color search. I'm just going to type in blue and click find, and we'll see what blues came up. Not much actually. Here we go, we're getting there. Let's shift over. I'm not having any luck. All right, let's make it a dark purple. Okay, so there you go. That's our run stitch outline with our trapunto in the middle. And if you wanted to use a different fill type in here, you could. You could use advanced texture fill. You could use echo quilting. You could do a variety of different things in here besides a stipple. But I happen to like stipple for trapunto because it mats the batting down really, really well. So that's our video for October 2020. I want to thank you for watching and invite you to come back next month for another edition of Total Quilter Monthly.